Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So yesterday we saw how the food was served, how all sorts of people were happy. Now I'm just going a little back in the story because that was an emotion in which I wanted to explain to you how Dasaratha Maharaja invited all of them and how all of them got to have nice food and how all of them were, wishing, or all of them were saying, "Hey Dasaratha Maharaja, you have made us so happy. May God give you all the wishes that you're asking for." They gave that Ashir Vachana to the king and they moved from there. So that was that part. Now let us go back a little, because along with these people, the kings were also invited. But who all were those kings who were invited? That we'll just have a look at it. Okay. So Midhilajipatim Suram Janakam Satyavikramam Nishtitam Sarvasastreshu Tadha Vedeshu Nishtitam Tamanai Mahabhagam Swayam Evasuskrutam Susatkrutam Purva Sambandhinam Gyatva Tadha Purvam Bravimite. So he's saying the most important person the king that I'm inviting is the king of Mithila, because he is a person with Atmagyana. He has got a lot of tapashakti. So Dasaratha is not looking for the riches here. He is going with the knowledge. He's saying he is the most important guy. For him, don't send anybody else. Oh Sumantra. Sumantra is his minister. Oh Sumantra, you go all by your own. And Tadha Kasipadim Srigdham Saptam Priyavadinam Vayasyam Rajasimhasya Swayam Evanayasvaha. Again, get Kashi Raja also. He is also a very good friend of ours. And Tadha Keke Rajanam Vruddham Paramadharkam Swasuram Rajasimhasya Saputram Tomihanayam. So again, even when you are going, also ensure that you are inviting Kekaya king also, okay, who is the king's father-in-law. So also get him. You also, go. It is your responsibility to go there and get them also. Angeshwaram Mahabhagam Romapadam Suskrutam Vayasyamra Simhasya Tama Samana Yasasvinam. So again, Ramapada is another important person because he let Rishistringa come here, right? So again, you have to go in person and get him here. And then he is talking about all the other kings who can be invited normally. Prachinan, Sindhu Sauviran, Saurashtreyam Sepadhivan, Dakshinatyan, Narendramsha, Samastananaya Swaha. So he's saying, King, bring the kings from Sindhu, Sauvira, Saurashtra, and go there, send good people there so that they are all brought very very carefully. Utmost protocol is followed. Okay, you do all this stuff is what Dasaratha told, and all of them went. They were all brought in, and everybody, every king, every normal guy, everyone was extremely happy with what Dasaratha did. The sort of arrangements that were made, everyone was saying only one thing: may Dasaratha's wishes be granted. Now everyone was see. Imagine getting the blessings of so many people, right? That's where I think the Srimad Narayana was so happy, and he thought, okay, if I have to go there, this is the man whom I am going to choose as my father. Because see, look at the number of people who got happy. Look at the sort of work that was done. Look at the care that was taken during inviting people. Look at the care that was taken during getting all of them. So at that point of time, just imagine everyone would have been so happy and everyone was blessing the king. Now, while all this was happening, on the other side, now the Yagashala was being built. That was built. And how was it? How was the Yagashala? Now, that is something that we have to understand. Yagashala, it was made with 21 pillars. Okay, so these are also called as Yupa Stambhas. Stambha is a pillar, Yupa is a sort of material used for it. So with Yupa Stambhas, they have made with 21 Yupa Stambhas that Yagashala was made. Okay, they are made with the sticks from Bilva. Okay, some of them are okay. There were 6 stambhas that were made of the Bilva tree. Okay, then 6 are made from a, in Telugu we call it Moduga. I'm not sure of the other language. And then 6 other pillars, they are made from Chandra, and then 2 are made from Devadaru. Okay, and then 1 is made from Sleshatmaka. So all these are different types of wood or different types of plants. Okay, and Dasharatha belongs to the Shukla Yajurveda, not the Krishna Yajurveda. He belongs to the Shukla Yajurveda. Okay, so according to the tenets of Shukla Yajurveda, the Yagna Vedi was made, and all these 21 pillars, the upastambhas, they were covered with gold, and then they were also covered with cloth. Okay, again from one pillar to another pillar, they were maintaining a 2 full hand distance. Okay, and not even a small bit of havya or havis. Havis is the thing that we offer to the Agni Deva so that he would then take it and give it to all the devatas. So not even a single drop of it was coming out. Okay, that's how wonderfully it was there. And then the yagna vedi means the place where the yagna is actually happening, that was done. So there is a process called chayana. Okay, through which the actual see normally we make a quadrilateral, a rectangular place in the middle we put the fire, right? But here they are making it uh, in the form of an eagle. Okay, and the way that is created, that is called as chayana. The process is called as chayana. Okay, and then every day whatever mantras were supposed to be recited, that were recited, the rituals that were needed to be conducted, they were all conducted. Okay, and for all these 21 stambhas, they brought in different animals. Okay, and they kept them there. Okay, some of those animals would be killed, or they would be offered to the gods, and some of them would be left out around. So all those processes were done. Okay, but in Kali Yuga, there are a lot of restrictions on this practice. But in those days, the person who is reading the mantra, he is supposed to have enough power in him. No, we just don't kill animals like that. They are not supposed to be killed also just like that. So please remember, if somebody is asking you to sacrifice animals or something, you should first ascertain whether that person has enough energy, because when an animal is killed, the energy is released, and that energy should be positively sent back to the god. That's not a very easy process. In Treta Yuga and all, which are lakhs and lakhs of years ago, people had that Anushtana Diksha and all. Now if somebody is getting into this and says, I want to do this, that do that, please be extremely careful with such people. But in the yagna, in Aswamedha Yagna, so that was done. Only a few of them were killed, many of them were released, and finally the horse that has gone out, that would actually be killed, and a part of it would be put into the, so some of the body parts of the horse would actually put into the sacrificial fire. Okay, now when I am saying this, don't get scared, or don't develop a hatred towards this. This is done by the kings, and in the age in which we live, in the Kali Yuga, this is not recommended. In Treta Yuga, lakhs of years ago, this was recommended. In Kali Yuga, if you want to do the Aswamedha Yagna, you can't do all this stuff. There is one very easy way of doing this. If you know of someone, or if you end up seeing the body of any animal, or any human, and if you realize that that animal or that human has lost, and there is nobody who is taking care of that body after that animal has died, or after that human has died, ensure that all the last rites that are needed to be performed for that, either for that animal or for that human being, in a proper way. Just ensure that those things are done in a much proper way. I mean, once you do the final rituals for those animals, or for that human, that is equivalent of doing a Ashwamedha Yagna. So kindly don't develop a negative feeling for Hindus, because we are all trained by these Victorian values, where we consider all this as bad. But no, that's not the case. Okay, so now they had to kill that horse. So because they are doing Aswamedha Yagna, they would kill that horse, and they would pull out some part of the meat of the horse, and they would offer it to that sacrificial fire, and they ask the king to come and smell it. So this is how that is done. But before killing, I mean, once the horse is killed, they'll not do it immediately. Okay, and who is supposed to do this? That's the king's Pattamahishi. Pattamahishi is a person who sits with him on the throne. So the king can have multiple wives, but there's only one wife who would sit with him, along with him on the throne, the most important of them. So she is given three swords with which she is supposed to kill, right? To kill the horse, and then once the horse is killed, she is supposed to sleep beside the horse. I mean, don't take again bad things here. The horse would be covered beside the dead horse. She is supposed to be sleeping, because it's told in our shastras that that would remove the sin that is stopping them from having kids. So with those three swords, the queen went and she killed the horse. And then for that night, the dead horse was covered with a silk cloth. Basically, Kausalya killed it with the three swords given to her. And then, without any anxiety, without anything bad in her mind, the queen is supposed to sleep beside the horse. Kausalyama slept beside the horse. Okay, and in some texts it's told that probably Sumitra and Kaikeyi also slept there, but the fundamental thing is that the queen is supposed to sleep. She slept there, and the next morning the king came, and okay, the horse Vapa, that's Dhumagandham Vapayastu Jigratisman Naradhipa Yadhakalam Yadhanyayam Nirnudam Pavamatmanaham. So from the horse, the Brahman will take out the Vapa, which is the part of the horse, and that's put in the Agnihotra, and from there the Dhupa comes. Dasharatha Maharaja needed to stand near the fire so that he actually gets the smoke and he smells it, and once that is done, that is gone. I mean, the sin is gone. Okay, at the same time, I mean, just before this happens, the king is supposed to do a dana of his wives, okay, to the Hota, Udgata, and Advaryu. Okay, so he gave his Kausalya to Rishyasringa. Okay, and then the second wife was given to the Hota, third to the Udgata, and all. So he has, so the first one was given to Hota, the second one to the Udgata, and then Advaryu, then Brahma. Okay, he has done all the danas there, and then once the queens were given in dana, or the once the queens were actually given to the brahmanas by the king actually has to take them back. So that's a small ritual. Okay, this is not like the king is giving her away forever and ever. So immediately the king says, okay, I have given my wife to you as dana. The wife goes back and stands behind him, and like that, to all the people, he would give, I mean, to those four Advaryus, he would give four of them, and then he says, okay, now I need my queens back. What should I pay? Now, those Brahmanas were not like the people of today, so that was a ritual. They are very, very alpasantoshis, so they just took a small amount. That's the ritual, says you take a very, very minuscule amount from the king, and then you give it back to them. So that's a small ritual that happens, and after that, the king took the smoke from the Vapa. Okay, now the sin that was there with him till now, that would have left. Okay, once that is done, the king has to do some amount of danas to the Brahmins, and to the four people who actually did the yagna for him. The king had to do some dana to each of them. And what did the king do? What danas did the king do? He gave the east part of the entire kingdom to the Hota. The Hota is a quick there. It's not his name. It's a job title. Okay, the west part was given away to Advaryu, which is as we saw Vasishtha. Dakshina was given to Brahma, who is Rishyasringa, and the north part of the kingdom was given to Udgata. Then all the four Brahmins who took the dana from him, they come back to the king and say, O king, while you have given us all this, we can't handle all this. We are giving it back to you. You rule the kingdom in a proper way. So this is another interesting ritual. Okay, and then all the four Brahmins would say, since we can't rule it, we are giving it back to you. Now, since as a king you can't take this as dana, if you have got a rupee or two, give that to us as dakshina. Okay. Now they see, again, there's a very big restriction here to all the. So any person who is listening to this might feel, oh, Brahmins, dana, dakshina, they are taking away a lot of money. No, it is very clearly told in Ramayana itself that if you are taking too much of money, or if you are, I mean, again, you might ask how much is too much. The money should always be minuscule. Brahmana should be alpasantosha. He should not even think of tomorrow. So probably very, very less money is something that they need to ask, and those people asked it like that. So probably if we are in today's times, probably in rupees which doesn't cross 5 digits, might be something that can be asked. Okay, so they took a very, very less amount of dakshina, and they gave it back, and they gave all of that. Now once that is done, the next day another homa is done, which is called as chatushtoma. On the next day, means the second day after this, another a homa called uktha is done. On the third day, atiratra yagna is done. So with these three, the Ashwamedha Yaga is complete. Okay. Now after this Ashwamedha Yaga is done, Dasaratha Maharaja went to Rishyasringa and said, with your blessings and the blessings of all my Kulagurus, everyone, we are somehow able to complete, or we completed our Ashwamedha Yagna in a wonderful way. Now, please suggest as to what I need to do so that I can get my sons, get my children. So, to which Rishyasringa Maharshi said, I'll make you do an Ishti. And what was this Ishti? We'll see in our next episode. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. सर्वं श्री साई महाराज स्वामी चरणारविन्दार्पणमस्तु. जय श्री राम.